welcome to the Common Floc, and finally back after a week, and some news broke earlier today. A couple things broke this week. I'm going to talk a little bit about some stuff around the league, too. There's definitely been some interesting stuff that's went down. First, we'll start off with the Nelson signing. And looking at the Steven Nelson pickup, it was a good move. He's getting paid around $4 million on 1 year. So it's basically a prove-it deal, just like guys like a Rich Rod and stuff like that. Where it's just, if he can prove he belongs, he stays. If he can't, water under the bridge. It's a low cap year. It was kind of a rebuild. And that's I haven't really brought it up on this channel, but I've brought it up before. For Sirianni, this year is kind of just if it works, it works. If it doesn't, no. What's the saying? I lost it, but he's not gonna lose, or he won't lose sleep over if this season doesn't work. A lot of these guys aren't necessarily his guys, at least at first. A lot of these guys aren't his pickups and his bring-ins and all that, or the guys he wants necessarily in the beginning. And he can just brush it off as a rebuilding year and push blame, because that's media will want to blame somebody, because that's Philly media. That's a whole nother story that I don't want to talk about right now, because it'll turn into a 10-minute thing, and I got other stuff to talk about in the podcast. But good signing. It's definitely better than a lot of the guys we have in the room. I'm glad he's here. I'm pretty sure we used the rest of our cap space, basically. So you're going to have to open some up to sign Landon Dickerson, the center out of Alabama, who was also coming off 2 ACL injuries in his college career. But I didn't say that, did I? But anyways, I don't know necessarily if it will work in a long term. It probably won't. It's probably not a long term move, more of a short term move. It's a good thing that he's here, though, because like I said, it was a shallow room. It really was. A lot of these guys would not be making teams elsewhere. But I mean, it is what it is, and Nelson's here. We've speculated about it for months. The rumors have flown for so long. It's good to see he's finally here, thankfully. But I mean, all in all, this signing, take it for what it is. It is a short term as far as I think it'll go. I don't think this will get even close to a very much of a long-term deal. If you wanted to do a long-term, you would have gone with someone like a Conley. But I could be wrong. Who knows? I'm kind of assuming of what I best think. If that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. But on to the next topic. It's just the CB room in general. Now with Nelson coming into this room, you've now got him and Slay, who are your 1 and your 2. McPherson, who's going to be here just because he was drafted. Maddox, I'm assuming, is going to be your slot corner, so now you've got a spot for probably 2 more corners. And who are those other 2 corners going to be? It's very much a toss-up, I'd say. Very much a toss-up. And now you can't sign Cravon because he just got signed somewhere else. So he gone. I wanted him back. He's not come back. But it is what it is. And looking at the roster, have heard a couple things about, or have heard a thing or two about Josiah Scott, the guy who got traded for earlier this season from the Jags, I'm pretty sure. And then I think that, although I think it's still a toss-up for him, I'd love to see Jaquette and James be those other two that make the roster. I'm a very big Craig James fan, and I think Jaquette's the tallest corner we got. I think we just have to accept that he's the tallest corner we got at 6'1", and we may need him on the outside. Although I think that last guy, they're probably going to also want a slot or a special teams guy. Maybe go with Seymour for special teams. Who knows? But I do think you probably won't see Shaquille Taylor make it and Levert Hall not make it. The rest is a toss-up for those last two spots. Unless they keep 7, then it's a toss-up for 3. But I don't think they'll keep 7 because I think they're going to keep 5 running backs and run some 2-back sets. I'm pretty sure Howie's kept 6 corners most of the time, but who knows. I think on the off chance that Jaquette or James don't make it, they definitely fall to, or Seymour, they definitely fall to the practice squad. Maybe even Taylor could fall to the practice squad. And then I do not know what Metters is. I'm pretty sure he's a corner, but we don't necessarily know where he could be slotted right now. He's listed at DB. And Graylin Arnold, I assume, is a safety as of right now. Just like I did with Riley, but who knows? He could go to corner. I think. And I say that because I'm not honestly sure where he was in college. But that doesn't mean very much. Because Ward was a quarterback in college. Now he's a receiver. So, who knows? But moving over to the next topic. We got those two out of the way. The NFL has new rules on COVID. Oh boy. Oh boy, this one's a. They basically came in and said you have to get vaccines without actually saying it because they can't. Unlike college, I think you can. The universities can, but NFL can't do that. So they basically said it without actually saying it. If you have an outbreak, you forfeit the game. And you have to pay for expenses, and players on both sides do not get paid, is the general gist of it. I may be missing 1 or 2 things. I'm hoping I'm not. But those are the big things. Yeah, that's... Owners are going to look at that like, yeah, you need to get it unless you're a big superstar. Because, yeah, you mess with their money, that's when they get serious. And I said on a stream, I forget where it was. This was a couple days ago. And honestly, I've been doing so much over the past couple days, I'm sorry, I don't remember. If you're watching it, I was on that stream. I'm sorry. But if it's a higher level player that means more to a franchise, they're probably going to look a little bit more past it than maybe a 5th-string corner or a 3rd-string running back. If so, you're probably cut if you really, really don't want to get the vaccine and really oppose it super bad and potentially could cause an outbreak. And then players are getting fined, what is it, $50K or $100K in COVID violations. And we've had multiple players already hit the COVID list. Multiple. Not in Philly, just around the league. But hold on, let me look that up exactly. How much players get fined for COVID violations? I hope I didn't just say paid. If I said paid, I meant fined. NFL to fine players almost $15K for COVID-19 protocol violations. NFL will do it anytime they are broken this 2021 season. It's $14.6K 14.6.5K, but 0.6.5, 14.650K, but again, that's pocket change for most players, though. That is pocket change for most players. Actually, that is just digging through the couch change, basically, to them. That's all they have to do, dig through the couch. Oh, a little bit here, a little bit there. That's all that money is to them, basically. Just a little amount for most players. Even for the guys that get paid barely anything coming into the league as UDFAs, that's like not even a tenth of their signing bonus. Actually, that's not even a 20th of their signing bonus. But anyways, yeah, and I think that's definitely rocky territory. Saying that that you have to just lose the money, pay for it, or pay for anything that pay for costs basically for the game if you're the team, and then your players lose out on money. Everything else, I feel that's unfair to a player, because what if they accidentally break COVID rules, or what if it's accidental and it's not even their fault? They bring COVID in, have a small outbreak, and they cancel the game. What happens then? And then everyone's going to go after the player, or everyone's going to be mad at the player. It's not the player's fault in some situations. In a situation where it's the player's fault, I get it. But if it's in a situation that isn't, which could happen, which all well and could happen, it's not going to be fair to the player. Not going to be fair to the players. But I get where the league is coming from. I do and I don't. I do and I don't. But anyways, jumping to the next topic. Deshaun Hall was cut from Arizona. Now, he wasn't a great player. He wasn't a bad player. He was someone who just couldn't make the roster. I think he could be brought back potentially as a fringe guy, depending on what we have at that position after or before the preseason. Who knows? If not, I think you could see him land on the practice squad depending on what they need. Because usually there's at least one or two O linemen and one or two D linemen hitting that practice squad. Usually. No matter the circumstances. Always. Especially now that it's 16 guys. And then in other news, Cam Akers, the second-year running back out of LA, more specifically the Rams, is now down. That sucks. I was looking forward to see what he can do this season. Now Darrell Henderson's the starting back. Not only that, I was going to go for him in fantasy. He was going to be one of my higher picks because last year I gambled on a few picks like Cam Akers, Zach Moss, the kid from Jacksonville, what's his name, Robinson? I can't remember his first name. James Robinson. And a couple other guys here and there. Some of those gambles worked out, some of them didn't. Zach Moss. But he was still a player that I was looking at, not only for fantasy, but just in general. Like, dude, that sucks. Hate to lose a guy like that. And he's one of my more favorite players on the Rams right now. Him and Cup. But I was looking forward to seeing what both could do, especially in fantasy football, because Cam Akers was part of the reason my running back core was stable, because behind my starting lineup I didn't expect to have as much as I did. James Robinson. But, hey, it's all about how you pick, and I didn't game plan it the best, but this year I got better game planning with me. But hopefully it goes well. Chandler Jones is asking out of Arizona. Now, I heard a couple people in the PSN Discord questioning, should we get him? No. Rather not. He's a 3-4 outside linebacker. And you're going to move into a 4-3 or 4-2-5, which is basically 4-3 with one less linebacker. You're going to move into that. No, I'd rather put him at defensive, or you got to move him to defensive end where he's going to rush more than he is going to drop into pass coverage, because I don't know if I necessarily want to try to get him and then play him at outside linebacker or at linebacker to 4-3. I don't know if I necessarily want to compared to what he could do at defensive end potentially. But not only that, you got to think what's the package going to be for him. It's going to be a lot. You're going to have to part with at least one high round draft pick, and I'd rather not. I'd rather bank on some kid out of college than Chandler Jones right now. I'd rather go for a linebacker that I know fits more to a 4-3 scheme and has more upside than a Chandler Jones, or has potential, and I can build him how I want, develop him how I want, compared to a Chandler Jones where you really can't. And you can develop him in your scheme with your guys and everything, but hey, there's a reason I'm not a GM. But I think a move like that is definitely out of the question, at least for this year, because we seem to be in the middle of we're in the middle of a rebuild, but also win now. It seems like we're between rebuilding and winning now with some of the signings we've done. It's a middle ground, I feel like. Especially looking at all the prove-it deals we've handed out to guys like Rich Rod and Steven Nelson. But, hey, if Steven Nelson comes in handy, just wait. He ain't coming back. Just like Pat Robinson, like he should have. He ain't coming back. I don't think Nelson is coming back either. Unless he balls out, I don't think he comes back. I think next year they take a chance with a new corner in the first. I do. Alright. Devontae Adams stopped contract talks with the Green Bay Packers. He stopped talks of an extension. That sucks. Not only that, coupled with Aaron Rodgers turned down a 2-year extension, I think it was, to make him the highest paid quarterback in some way, shape, or form. I never read up on it, so I don't know the exact way he was the highest paid. But yeah. Green Bay, get your stuff together, guys. Really. Like, you're digging a hole. You got to get yourself out of it. If Green Bay loses Rodgers and Adams is probably going to Las Vegas. And Rodgers could go to a multitude of places. Who knows? And then what does Green Bay have? Jordan Love? He's still unproven in my eyes. He hasn't even played a snap. He hasn't really played in the NFL. I'm not going to say he hasn't played a snap because I don't know if he has. Probably has. But I want to see what he can do starting at least half a season before I can really judge him. I want to see him play half a season in general and see what he can do before I really judge him as a player. But, dude, if Green Bay doesn't get their stuff together soon, some guys are gonna drop like flies, and then you're gonna see a rebuild soon. I don't think Green Bay fans want that, at least not this year, because your roster just took you to the conference championship. Do you really, or NFC championship game? Do you really want to knock yourself out of a chance of doing it again, and maybe winning this time? No, I wouldn't. But anyways, training camp is on the horizon. I'm looking it up to make sure I know when training camp starts. When does camp start? It starts in 2 days. So, I can't wait to see what happens. Sirianni's all about competition. So, we'll see how that plays in and everything. And I can't wait. Honestly, it's going to be nice. Then we get some news for once, week to week. But anyways, this has been the Common Floc. I know it's been a very short episode, but not much to talk about. Not very much. Not big topics. Small topics that I can get through in a couple minutes. But anyways, I will see you guys next time on probably another podcast next week, unless news breaks, which probably won't. Well, there might be with training camp. But anyways, I will see you next week.